So how about this wild story that I've heard, right? Before I even get into the story, most people think that it's best to react to things up when you're confronted with it, right? Danger hits when you start to see things. Now you want to try to respond to whatever. And that's just not the best strategy when you're being hunted. See, because how a hunter works is by the time they attack, they have already been watching you for a while. Like they've built up their motives, their moves, and what they're going to do, and just studied you for a while, right? Figuring you out, how you move, your candidness, your niceness, your temper, just studying you, right? And when they have decided in their mind what they're going to do to you, you're somewhere chilling cool and you've given them access. That's what happened to the goat. One day, a leopard looked over at the goat and already had his mind made up. He had already decided that this is the animal here I want to get close to. Right here, I'm hungry. He was thinking about making a friend first. So he looked at the goat like, yeah, that's going to be my next meal. Yeah, oh, like that's the one that I want for sure. And all the while, the goat had really never even seen any of this coming, right? Never seen any of it coming. Early morning, it got up, it walked the same path, same trail, ate from the same fields, went about life like everything was normal. But meanwhile, the leopard had switched up the whole thing, right? Went into straight hunting mode, right? Instead of chasing them, he just found ways to strategically get closer and closer. He started walking beside the goat, talking to it, talking like it, trying to sound like it, speak its lingo and everything else. Right, just showing up wherever the goat was. If you were standing off in the distance watching them, you would have probably thought that they was cool, like they was friends, but no. Like the leopard was not building no friendship whatsoever. He was looking for an opportunity to get the goat somewhere pent up to himself. He was building every opportunity he could. Every conversation gave him more information. Every walk to the forest let him know, something that he didn't even already know. He learned where the goat liked to just relax, graze at, where he liked to spend his casual time at, right? Just following the trail, walking the same path every day. And when nobody else was around, the leopard made sure he was somewhere in a crevice, peeping the scene, watching the goat's every move, getting closer and closer and comfortable with the goat. He was becoming familiar with it, so that when the right time came, he wouldn't miss. Now, what I think about whenever I'm paying attention to the story right here is where a lot of people miss the lesson. Just because somebody smiles in your face doesn't mean that they're smiling because they love you. When I'm hearing this story, sometimes it reminds me about how people are studying you, watching your habits and how you move, learning your routine, trying to figure out your weaknesses, and hoping that they will figure you out, waiting for the right moment to benefit from what they already know about you. The goat couldn't wait, okay? Couldn't wait for him to get off his square. The leopard, though, the leopard had been so strategic in it that the goat didn't see any threat whatsoever. The leopard had even figured out, what to do to get his claws into get his claws into the goat. Everything looked all normal on the outside, but every time the leopard came around the goat was feeling uneasy. It tried to shake the feeling off, telling itself, maybe it's just something I'm overthinking, maybe, I'm tripping out or something like that, but no. Still, that feeling was not going to leave. You know, that's usually the indicator of the Ori speaking to us. Sometimes our Ori will notice something before our eyes are even able to. It'll make us uncomfortable, you know, before there's ever any proof. It'll warn long before you catch on or anybody else around you will start to catch on. However, the goat ignored all the signs. The goat was like, I'm probably tripping. This went on for a little while until the goat had decided, nah, I need to go talk to Orumi. I need to go sit at the mat. It humbled itself before the mat, sat there, and Orumi prepared for the sacred tray for a divination. And the goat said, Baba, I know what's going on, but I cannot put my finger on it. But something in my spirit is telling me, I just can't explain it though. Everything seems normal, you know, I'm doing everything that I've been doing. I'm taking my normal route, right? But something just seems off and I feel like I'm being watched. So can you please tell me, am I tripping? Am I imagining things, right? Or can you help me to decipher what is going on? Because I know that my Ori is trying to get my attention. I know that something is trying to get my attention right now. So Orumi was listening. He didn't interrupt him. He let him talk, right? And he began to cast the Ikin and open Ifa. The Odu happened to appear as OSA IWURI. After studying the message, Orumi looked to the goat and said, your Ori isn't lying to you. I think you need to pay attention to this. There's something close to you, someone close to you, who has already decided what they're trying to do to you. They've been preying on you for a minute, you know, and the only reason that you don't know it yet is because they haven't made their move. And everything just like started to like, the goat's heart and everything dropped. You know, he started replaying every conversation that he had, every walk that he took, every smile and every moment that he shared with individuals. And one person that stood out to him was the leper. The leper stood out to him the most. What it was that the leper had portrayed himself to be a friend, right? The leper made it appear as though he was a good friend, someone that's a trusted individual that come to his house, chill with him, do this, do that, go for a walk and study with him and all of this type of stuff, until it realized that not every hunter comes running with teeth showing. You know, some hunters get close enough to make you comfortable enough to trust them. Seeing that the goat was willing to listen to Orumi advised to offer sacrifice. And with that, you know, he told the goat, take some kernels of corn, a few small stones, put it together inside of a pouch and wear it around your neck. Everywhere you go, don't even worry about understanding it right now. Just do exactly what Ifa has instructed. Now, if we're being honest, you know, that probably sounds pretty strange, like corn, rocks, like what am I going to put that on my, why would I put that around my neck and walk around with something like that on? It was very strange for him to do it, but he said, trust me, like, listen, just do it, right? How exactly would corn and rocks going to keep him from the destruction or demise, whatever plans that the leper had? He didn't bother arguing or anything like that. He didn't try to outsmart Ifa or anything. He just gathered the corn, picked up the stones, tied everything inside of a small pouch and wore it, you know, around its neck, just as Orumi had instructed. The goat still didn't understand why any of this mattered, but sometimes obedience comes before understanding. And without even realizing it, the day of the test, he could sense things getting closer to him. Now, as I'm leaning towards, you know, wrapping the story up, coming to an end, I wanted to just share something, because this story just isn't about a goat and a leopard. To me, it's teaching more than, especially in these times, right? We think about so many people just like the goat, where they wake up every day, they go to work, they pay bills, they have children to care for, they're trying to get through the day, survive or whatnot, and life is just moving forward, right? Nothing wrong with anything. It's just a matter of people just trying to get ahead. The problem is while we're busy trying to get through things, some people fail to realize that there's outside influences that are daily, constantly studying us, constantly watching our whereabouts and how we are navigating in this world, watching us, just making sure that we go in the right motion, almost just like traffic, you know, just we all going in the same little order, you know, and there's no abruptness happening, nobody out of order, nobody out of the script for the most part. And I think about that. I think about how people are constantly studying us as like a data center, and also studying us like to build their systems. And so while they're studying us, somebody else is just reading, you know, their laws. They're putting laws in place. Everybody else is showing up to meetings, discussing how they're going to hunt us per se, right? Other people are deciding what's happening in your neighborhood and your school and your healthcare system, your healthcare institutions and whatnot, on your housing programs and everything. All the while, just like, you know, making determining factors that are going to either be beneficial to you or not, right? That to me is what this story reminds me of. Just like the goat, you know, he wasn't foolish because he didn't know anything. He just simply didn't know. Like, he's just going about his regular day until he started, you know, his intuition started to ring to him, you know, started whispering to him, you know what I'm saying? And so once Arumila had then revealed what was happening, the goat had a decision to make, you know. And just like many of us today, we can't keep saying nobody told us, I didn't have a clue, you know, or even in terms of like where I'm going towards, you know, speaking about the legislative climate of things, is to constantly not be in the know or aware of what's going on around us. My vote, you know, I don't really know what's going on. Them people, they've been having things going on, like brushing it off with this old school rhetoric of just not knowing, right? We can't keep saying that politicians just do what they always do. They are all lying. Both sides just lie. Politics mean nothing to me. You know, I used to be with somebody that always do that until I started to be like, no, this matters to me. It really does matter to me. So whether or not we participate, the decisions are still going to be made with or without our votes. The only thing in question is, will your vote be in the room, you know, before the decisions take an effect on your life or somebody that you love or whatnot. I've been volunteering and studying alongside of attorneys here in my area, where we've been assisting individuals with clearing their criminal records. You know, what comes to my surprise is that so many men and women have already paid their debt to society years ago, but nobody ever told them that they could register to vote again, or that they thought about their rights, that they've been thinking about like their rights basically being completely diminished, and that they don't even have any say on what's going on. They're just trying their best to get through life, you know, and they are left to believe that they have a criminal record and that there's nothing that they could do to help society. It's really wild. And that's the reason why I was like, you know, this matters to me. This story matters to me as well, because in reality, many of us are being hunted on daily with the laws and stuff that are being passed. So as we're being hunted upon, quote unquote, I think about these things, you know. I think about people who deliberately choose silence versus those who were not given a chance. You know, they just believe that they cannot do it, so they go years and years without even trying to participate. You know, where there's information that is actually given out there, but they haven't gained access to it because they're thinking about their day-to-day life. all of this reminds me of what this old dude talks about in OSA IWURI. Sometimes being hunted doesn't even look like somebody's chasing you through the woods, right? Sometimes, you know, you're being hunted through your ignorance, through all of the things that's being weighed upon you throughout the day. Sometimes you're being hunted because nobody taught you your rights, and we never had the chance to fully learn about how governmental systems work for us, you know. And so while all of these things are happening around us, there's opportunities for us, but we don't even know that they exist. And if nobody tells us, you know, we'll just keep walking through life every day, never realizing that somebody already knows exactly where we're headed. They have a system that's already planned for us for the most part. And so the GOAT to me symbolizes the need to survive, you know, the need to survive. And what is the GOAT willing to do in order to survive, in order to save itself, in order to acknowledge the strength that it actually has, you know, beyond getting through the day. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me to like be prepared to listen, you know when to act and stuff like that. And as an EFI practitioner, you know, just to feed my ORE and know the laws, study the laws, know order, build order, know structure, and ask the right questions spiritually and whenever I need to. You know, being involved in my community, you know, is important to me because it allows me to like get up and show up, and to know that I have a future, and my future also impacts those around me. So the things that I do could also impact other people that's around me, and that if I don't do anything at all about it, that I'm ultimately leaving my future in the hands of somebody else who may or may not care about me, who may or may not have my best interest in mind. And how one thing that a hunter is hoping is that you never pay attention, and that you never catch on to what it is that they have strategically planned for you and for your demise. So hunters hate people who know what's going on. The moment that the goats became informed and followed the instructions that the goat received, you know, that's when the hunt was over.